Coach. Happy birthday. I've been elected, so to speak, to tell some war stories about you. And I thought we'd start out here. I've been around probably 175, 200 games with you. Probably anywhere between 400 or 500 practices with you. Every Tuesday and Friday I got the honor of sitting beside of you, so I get to tell a lot of stories and name a lot of names. Now, most people, when they think of Williamson Wolfpack, they think of Danny Moses and Moses will lead us to the promised land. They think of Mark Klein, the house that Klein built. They think of the shot hurled around the world with Anthony Struthers. And those are legends in their own right, but this is really not about that. Now, a lot of people don't know that Coach Fletcher, he coached, I think, from 1999 till the school closed in, I guess, 2012, 11, somewhere in there. And what a lot of people don't know, that at one time, toward the end of the school year, when Williamson was really struggling, there was no football coach. And, there was talk about shutting the football program down. Well, to start with, I'll give this little tidbit. You signed for the job and basically saved the football program. Now, we didn't win a lot of games, but we did. I remember we went 0-9, but we played Tug Valley at Tug Valley the last game of the year, and we beat Tug Valley, and I can't remember the score, but you'd think those kids had just won the Super Bowl. So, those are some of the things that dedicated to the youth of Williamson that you did. The real magic is inside. Get your popcorn ready, sit down, relax, and I'm going to tell some stories. Most people, when they come into the Williamson Fieldhouse, one of the things they do is they look up at all the banners hanging up in the rafters. Now, Coach Fletcher is probably the one link to most of these banners up here. He played in 64, 65, was on those championship teams under Coach Ritchie. In the 80s, he was assistant coach to David Hatfield, and his boy Jared plays. And in 2001, he was the head coach for us when we won the state championship. So he is the one link, the one person that can absolutely say that most of these banners up here are, to a certain extent, due to him. This is really where it all started. Like I said, I helped Coach Fletcher from 1999 to 2007. Like I said, about 175, 200 games, 400 to 500 practices, and every practice took place, we started it right here. Now, I'm going to tell you some things that Coach Fletcher used to say and do, very funny things. Now, one of the things that I can remember, when we would practice Thanksgiving, we would practice Christmas Eve, we would practice Christmas, we practiced New Year's. The year that we won it in 2001, I think we practiced about 70-some times. And if there was snow on the ground, because most of our kids lived here, our kids could come to practice. I remember one time we played away on a Friday night, and we got beat. Well, we get them up the next day at 6 o'clock in the morning, and Coach Fletcher would always bring them something to eat, a donut, Little Debbie cakes, oatmeal cakes. And then after he talked to them a little bit, we proceeded to run the dog water out of them. And we had a game that night. I think it was Chapmanville, might have been Tulsa, I really can't remember. And we run the dog water out of them. And after getting beat on Friday night, we somehow managed to pull out a victory right there that night of those kids coming in to practice from 6 to about 10 o'clock. If you did that today, you'd have more parents up there at the Board of Education's office than you couldn't believe. You couldn't get by with it. But Coach Fletcher got by with it. Some of the things that Coach Fletcher used to say was so funny. one of the things he would say, he'd get mad at him in practice. He said, "You can't waddle up there like a duck. You got to sprint up there, catch the ball. You can't waddle up there like a duck." He'd say. One of my favorite sayings that Coach Fletcher used to say all the time was, "That's what she said." You know, somebody'd say, "Coach, you all poured one out last night." That's what she said. Like I said, Coach Fletcher was always trying to sell shirts. You know, there was the Williamson Bass Club. I'll not even get into that. But the year that we won it in 2001, we beat the Birch Bulldogs in the sectional championship. We beat the Van Bulldogs for the regional championship. We beat the Marsh Fork Bulldogs first round of the state tournament. So after the season, I remember Coach Fletcher gets us a shirt and it says, "Another damn dog gone." One of my personal favorites that Coach got us, we had a knack for knocking off #1 teams. We had a knack for making clutch free throws and making big shots at the end of the game. Coach Fletcher got a shirt one time that says, "We don't need luck, we got the rabbit." When we was at Williamson, you know, Williamson had a loyal following, and we had 3 women who would follow us religiously no matter where we played. And those ladies was Jeanette McCoy, June Blevins, and Margaret Finley. And they usually sit right here. Now there was 2 or 3 more rows back when we played. But Coach Fletcher would always call this referee's row. So if you put Jeanette McCoy right there, and you put Margaret Finley right there, and you put June Blevins right there, and you go on that line, you put Greg Curry right here, and you put Tommy Fletcher right here, and you put Marge Fletcher right here, and Amy Fletcher right here, you had the makings of making a couple of referees' life HE double hockey sticks. I remember that we were playing Oceana, and Oceana had a very good basketball team. We was playing them at home. They were coached by Jim Hopkins, great coach and an even better man. Well, I can't really remember much about the basketball game other than the fact with like 10 seconds to go in the game, we were down by 4 points. Well, that old Wolfpack magic comes into play. Somehow, some way, with under 10 seconds to go, they throw it in, we get a steal, and Ben Hanna hits a shot right there in the corner, cuts it to 1. They throw the ball in again. Yokiro Taco Bell, Greg Ledger, gets a steal, throws it to Fred Russell underneath the basket, and they foul him. Now, Oceana was sitting right up here. Those fans was going crazy. They were going wild. Now, we're behind by 1 point, and I look up at the scoreboard after Fred got fouled, and that clock said 0-0-0-8. Somehow, some way, Earl Howard got that clock stopped. So, Fred Russell goes to the line. Well, Hoppy calls a timeout. He's trying to ice Fred. So, they come over to our bench, and for a minute, we say nothing at all to Fred Russell. Nothing at all. He comes out to the foul line, shoots the first one, knocks it down. They call another timeout. Same thing. They're trying to ice him. Again, they come over to the bench. We talk about what defense we're going to play. Nobody says a word again to Fred Russell. He comes out for the second foul shot, score tied, and he makes it. And we beat Oceana. Now those fans, they went wild. They were screaming, yelling, fussing. They were knocking on the official's door over there. And I can remember Coach Fletcher, when we walked off the floor, one of the things he said, they can get their hat, their coat, and leave. One of the lasting memory I have of Coach Fletcher coaching at the time, my lasting memory will always be the Hall of Fame basketball coach that he is, standing under all those banners, putting the famous Wolfpack Diamond Press on and leading his team to victory. he gave me a chance. I wanted to come home in 1999. Nobody else wanted me. He gave me a chance to come home and coach, and I'm forever thankful and grateful for that. Coach, I just wanted to say again, happy birthday. I love you. If Mingo Central ever decide that you want to coach that basketball team up there, you give me a call. I'll be more than glad to help you. Again, thank you. Happy birthday. I wish you many blessings. God bless you, Coach.
My favorite memory, of course, is I was one of 7 children to Josh and Harvey Fletcher at Borderland, and all the memories of playing together. We had 6 boys and 1 girl, and she could probably throw a baseball or a rock at us as good as anybody could. Just playing around up and down the hollows. The thing about it was, we had a big bottom down there we played in, and the thing about it was they had to have the Fletchers to play because we had the balls and the bats, and we'd all get together. Most of us was kinfolk and just played up just raw baseball mostly, and basketball. I had to fall in line. I had to be athletic to compete with the brothers, and I was always the one that had no favorite dog or pet or something along that line, and we was just country people picking blackberries and apple trees in the yard and all that stuff. Yeah, we had a cow and chickens and all that stuff, so had to have the natural foods to go with it to feed everybody back in the day. My oldest brother Bob, we call him Big Bob, he actually starred here he played Chattaroy basketball, post 49 state championships. He actually played pro baseball in the minor leagues for the Mets, pitched some at Pikeville College. Brother Eddie was played a lot of Babe Ruth League baseball and all that stuff. Brother Rogers, same way, basketball, baseball. We come up through the system in Williamson, basically midget league, Babe Ruth League, post 49, all that. Brother Tommy played at Williamson High, Chattaroy Junior High, very good basketball player. Brother Jim played basketball, baseball at Williamson, all-state baseball, pitched at Pikeville College some, went on and graduated at Marshall, taught school and was a principal. My sister was more of a cheerleader, she did I don't want to say the womanly thing back in the day, she helped my mother do a lot of things. Very religious person and still is today. Most of the time the mom stayed at home, fed the kids, washed them, bathed them, washed all the clothes. My dad was more sports oriented than her. He hauled us here and there, but he worked a great deal. So most of our going here to there in the beginning was going out and hitching a ride up and down the road. And back in those days, people would pick you up. Now, because of various situations, you have to rely on number 2, which is walking. My dad and I would lay on the bed and listen to sports on the radio back at that time frame. We used to listen to the Mountaineers. I actually kept score. I had a little scorebook and kept score back when Jerry West and even Willie Akers, I remember writing his name. Get to go every once in a blue moon. We'd go to Cincinnati and get to watch the Reds, but that was like hillbilly heaven, It's on TV now, and at that time, TV was just coming around. We didn't get to watch much on TV. But post 49 baseball was real big at that time, and we basically, all of us went through that with Jim Van Zandt, and he was probably a local hero. But most of all, it was just playing up and down the holler with the homeboys. Actually, I coached some Little League basketball. I was probably 20-year-old. When they first began the Williamson Midget League, Chattaroy had a team, and myself and maybe Ray Curry and Frank Smith and a few others took that over and got it going. And then when I went to Marshall, it kind of evolved on down to those people, and they were more prevalent in that than I was. But that was probably my first. And then my first hired, when I was a student teacher, I came to Williamson and as a student teacher, and as I remember, helped Coach Cecil Hatfield with the junior high school. This was probably in the early 70s, and then after that I was hired at Chattaroy Junior High and spent 13 years there. First teaching job, all those things you learn in college in the books and stuff, you can throw them out the door. Had nothing to do with teaching and and knowing how to handle kids and so on and so forth, from the kids that were picture-perfect kids to the kids that were troubled. You had to deal with them all, and it was pretty tough early on because I was 21. Some of the kids I was teaching was 18 and 19, so it was pretty tough. But just like any job you get on, experience is the best teacher, and I always got along good with the kids, but sometimes you have to show a little bit of force every once in a while. You know, play ball, play ball, play ball, play ball, then play ball. Yeah. And if basketball, baseball, some football, football wasn't as organized as that. It was just no pads, no helmets, just play ball and, you know, take the lickings and keep on ticking. But it was mostly basketball and baseball. I really didn't have any ambitions till I probably got in high school. Teaching, just being around the games and the people. I've always been, I think, a people person and try to get along with a lot of people. And sometimes they push you to your limits, but you have to adjust. And sometimes, like I say, you have to show them who's boss, and Chiefs and Indians, you know. I think I was in the 9th grade at Chattaroy, and there was this cute little girl running around a couple of grades lower than I was, and I got to know her a little bit. Of course, we was both young at that time, and dated her for a few years after that. Took her to our high school prom, and later, I think it's September of '69, we got married, and been with her ever since. And it's been, you know, very fruitful. We got 2 good kids. They both work and good citizens, and just up and down the holler, they're helping people out all the time. And I've been married a long time. I don't know how long it is, but math was never good with me. But from '69 to 18, ever how long that is, 49 years maybe or so. Okay. But that's the way it goes. Amy was always a gymnast and jumping off the house and flying in trees and kind of mischievous, really, rambunctious for a girl. She was done a lot of acrobatics, cheerleading. We once took her to the World's Fair to compete in some gymnastics type situations. And, that was in New Orleans. That was a long way away from Dan's Branch, you know. But then she later on made a great cheerleader, and she teaches now at Riverside, Williamson Elementary, and she does a great job. Jared, we all hauled him all over the world playing sports, baseball, Little League, state championships in Little League, Babe Ruth League, went to Wheeling and state champions, or runner-ups or somewhere with Post 49, and plus he was a star for the Wolfpack, 3-sport man, which you don't have anymore. Played football, baseball, basketball, and excelled in all 3 of them. Great, just a good athlete all the way around, good student. And also, I will add, Amy was a good student. So they say. First of all, to get into coaching, you have to look out there and say, man, there's a need for somebody to help these kids. I'd like to think that we've took some kids that were on the wrong road, maybe we put them on the right road, and now they've made good citizens for us, not just being a sports person. Not only did I coach boys there, that was about the time that they implemented girls basketball into the county due to Title IX and so on. And I think that might have been in, I don't know, maybe '78 or somewhere in that neighborhood. Coached some great girl teams there. Matter of fact, first year went undefeated, won the county. Closest game we had was like 30 points. And I coached Alvina Allen, Pam Sword, Rhoda Smith, Pam Hensley, Linda Runyon, Lisa Watson, you know. I know I'm missing a lot of guys. Coochie Sorrell, a lot of girls. And I don't want to start naming names, but I did. But some great kids. And I often, when girls basketball started out, I often said it was just one big jump ball, because it seemed like every 5 seconds, jump ball, jump ball, jump ball. But those girls could play. Those first girls I had were just, and one reason they could play was that they played outside there at the school a lot, and they was just playing with the boys and so on. Oh, Jesus. Never was one to get the women mad at me. Okay. Coaching girls, I won't say it was one was better than the other. I will say it was a different atmosphere to coach the girls than the boys. You had to approach it a little different because you were dealing with females and rather than males. A lot of times, coaches get upset, and you can. If you're coaching boys, sometimes your language is not what you would want it to be, and you get upset and say some things that you shouldn't say, but the boys understand it, and they just like water on a duck's back, it rolls down their back, and but now if you're coaching girls, they tear up real quick, and you got to watch what you say, and different types of things that go on during the season in a girls' basketball game. Probably had a lot of fun coaching girls, because you see in coaching girls, you could see so much improvement from point A to point B, because you start out with a lot of times no skills. So you can see them adapt real quick, or quicker than you do the boys, because most boys that come down already have some type of experience and if they've had a good junior high coach or a good midget league coach, they're a little more advanced, and you don't see as much improvement as you do with girls. Had a lot of fun with both of them. Wouldn't trade it for a farm in Georgia. Being a grandparent, in being a parent, a lot of times you're busy with your work and doing your job, taking care of basically everybody else's kids. And I won't say you don't have a lot of time, but you don't have as much time with your kids as you'd like to have. Being in a grandparent, usually you're on the lower end of the totem pole as far as age is, and you get to spend more time with your grandkids than actually you do your kids. And that lets you take them places and be more active with them, and probably gain some of the things in having a grandchild that you missed when you had a child, because you're with them probably a little more. He is full of crap. No, he's humorous, very intelligent, something that I'm not, but he takes it after some of the other relatives. Very active, loves animals, makes friends real easy with other kids, even if they're at the higher echelon or the bottom of the pole, he makes good friends with them. And I'm just proud of him for that. So, coached some great boys teams there, Petey Smith, and, the Reverend Okie Smith. He was Okie. I tell a story about him starting out as number 18 on the team as the manager. And as times got harder and this and that, guys quit, different reasons. I told them I had a bench there, and you keep trying and working hard, you might move up on the bench a little bit. And lo and behold, time I got through, Okie was playing for us and done a great job for us. That's just one of the little tales we tell about him, And he went on to coach, and not all you guys are stars, but they go on to contribute to at the schools as being a teacher or a coach or something. And just had a lot of great players down there, Bobby Teeters and Jared and Johnny Milam, and just on and on. Left there after 13 years and went to Williamson High School and assisted David Hatfield and Teddy Kinder for a couple of years as a volunteer coach, probably in the mid 86, 87 or somewhere in that line. And of course, that was still basketball time. It was Wolfpack basketball. Teddy and David Lee done a great job. David Lee was probably one of the best tacticians basketball that we've had at the high school in a long time. And then time went on, and Teddy went to North Carolina, and then I helped Dave for several years. I don't remember how many. And then he later on went to Belfry, and I got the head coaching job at Williamson. And stayed there a long time. Would probably be there now if the school was still there. which 2011 I think was the last year that happened. But you know, a lot of people now, I get calls almost daily, but at least weekly, somebody saying, well, won't you come and help them here, or help or teach or coach there, or this and that. Had Williamson still had a school, I'd still been there. But you know, to leave where I'm at, and it's, you know, I bleed this color here, so you know, when you put on a maroon and white, it is something special. You know, it wouldn't just put on a uniform, you go play. Is when it said Wolfpack across the top. Not only did it mean something to you and me, it meant something to all the fans. Plus, statewide, it meant a lot, because you know, I know a lot of coaches, know all kinds of people throughout the state, and they relate to Wolfpack basketball. Favorite memories, probably trying to get Earl to stop the clock or start the clock. Will always be there. Jim Witt, pack. Don Rouse correcting Jim from his mistakes. You know, most of all, I remember where people sat. You know, Mr. Johnson over here, he and his wife, and the Currys over here hanging over the rails. You know, as a coach, you see those same people, and you know where they sit. It's just good. Who sits here? Who sits there? And mostly, I remember just the great fans we had and the support that we had. Yeah, we had the seats here that came out of the Cinderella Theater, and they were like executive seats, I guess you'd want to call them. And some of the staunch supporters often sat in those seats. And I always call that the front row. You always had the referee was in front of them, and the people that like to help me. You know, I was a professional referee myself as a coach. They like to help me help the referees call the game. So I give it this row here, the referee row. And it seems as though that when they refereed, we got all the calls. And it made us get over the hump sometimes, you know. And I'm sure at one time or another, it influenced some officials into, on an iffy call, maybe leaning our way because they didn't want to reap the wrath of the referee row. And then I had 3 or 4 girls, young girls that come to the game. They were probably 70 and 80 year old all the time. So I call them the Golden Girls. And they help a referee, and Janet McCoy and Miss Roddy and Miss Finley and a couple more. I can't think of their names right now. You know, June Blevins. Yeah. I could think of her June, but I couldn't get the last name. So June Blevins, forgive me, my dear. But and a couple more. But those were really the main ones that give us the Golden Girls and referee row. Pete Spano was good at that back in the day, and of course Bill Curry. You know, he didn't have to be up close. He refereed from a distance. He was very good at that. And just a whole truckload of people that I could go on and on and on. As I look around here at the field house, I probably spent I don't know, probably 75% of my life here. I spent probably 20% of my life on a school bus. So at least 5% I've spent feeding the chickens and the dogs and raising the family and just taking care of things up and down the holler. So spent a lot of my life in the field house, a lot of my life in the school system, and it's been great. And I've always thought that when you pass away, if they say, man, he was a good guy, that's a good thing. Just like to thank my family for putting up with that all the time. They wasn't with me, mom and dad, brothers, sisters, fans, and
I want to wish a happy birthday to my pal, Curt Fletcher. I've been to a lot of school in my days, but probably the most education I ever received was lunchtime at Williamson High School, eating lunch with Curt. I'll always remember that, and I'll always carry that wisdom with me all throughout my life. Thank you, buddy, and happy birthday.
Well, first of all, I want to say happy birthday to Curt Fletcher, and it's a big day for you, and glad everybody came out. I'm sure there's a big crowd. Of course, we're pre-recording this, but I first got to know Curt when he was the coach at Chattaroy Junior High School, and he would let some of us older guys come and scrimmage with his junior high teams, and that was a lot of fun. I remember going to a lot of those games and watching his teams. One year in particular, I can remember when they went undefeated and won the Mingo County Championship, which was a real feat back then because you had 8 teams and everybody was pretty good. So those were some good old days. He had nicknamed the Chattaroy Gym Fletcher Fieldhouse, so appropriately so. So that's pretty good. One of the little things about Curt. You know, I've known his family a long time. I played baseball with his younger brother Jimmy, and just a great athletic family. All of his bros were great players for Chattaroy and then Williamson High School. And you know, the Fletcher name is synonymous with local sports. I know Curt remembers this, but he used to do a little commentary on the radio for the Wolfpack games. I was the first person that ever got him to come up and do that, and did a few games with him back in my radio days before I switched over to the print media. And that was always fun. He had that homespun humor, and he was really good at doing those games on the radio, and a lot of people liked it. Curt, of course, opened up a furniture store, and I always thought he had a great slogan. It was a good marketing. Curt Fletcher, the dollar stretcher. I remember us doing his commercials on the radio back in the day. And then he's got his convenience store, another good marketing name, Vital Vittles. Can't get any better than that. Great name. Curt's just, everybody loves Curt. He's, if you look at those banners that hanging out in front of in the Williamson Fieldhouse, he helped put a couple of those up there as a player in the mid-'60s. Then he came up to Williamson as an assistant coach, where he helped hang a couple of those state championship banners up. And then he got Williamson's last ever state championship as head coach for the Wolfpack. So that's pretty cool. So he has got a lot to do with those Wolfpack Williamson banners and historic fieldhouse. As I said, Curt's he's touched a lot of lives of students and athletes. Here's a good little story. I can remember being at the school one day, and there were some kids getting ready to go on a field trip, and of course they had to pay, and one kid couldn't afford it. And Curt found out, and I saw him do this, and I know he wouldn't want anybody to know, but he paid for that kid to go on the field trip out of his own pocket. That's just kind of little things he did behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know, and that's pretty cool when you think about it. Curt Fletcher is indeed a Williamson High School Hall of Famer, and he's just a real icon here in the Tug Valley area. Again, happy birthday.
Curt, just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. You used to always give us these little Curtisms, like Confucius says, the closer to the basket, the more baskets you'll make. And it's funny how you say those things and it kind of sticks with us, because I found myself these last couple of years telling my middle school the same thing, giving them the little Curtisms, and they love it. I think if I had to pick my favorite memory, it wouldn't be winning all the ball games, the sectional championship or the regional championship and going to states. I think my favorite would have been all the home games before middle school, growing up in grade school, when you used to let us rebound for the team during halftime and before the game, and then letting us sit on the bench during the game. And just during announcements, whenever the guys would get called out, they'd come down and give us their high five. And it meant a lot to us because we looked up to those guys. I just think it was awesome that we were able to do that. So I think that was the best memory I have of you and the Wolfpack, besides going to states. So I just wanted to wish you happy birthday one more time, and I'm going to leave you on this Curtism. Confucius says the older you get, the more birthdays you have. So happy birthday, Curt.
Hey Coach, it's Jay Bird. I don't know if you can recognize me because I kept eating my chicken nuggets and now I've got a little bit thicker. I got some hair in the face, but I just want to wish you a happy birthday. I wish I could be there with you. Unfortunately, I couldn't get home this weekend. I hope you're having a blast. I just want to say it was an honor to be able to play for you through high school. I wish we could have ended up on a championship run, but obviously that didn't work. But no, I hope you have a great birthday. I think that you mean a lot to people that are around you. You mean a lot to me, probably more than you know. And just enjoy it. We appreciate you and we love you. Have a great day, man.
First of all, It was hard to come up with only one memory with Curt. 4 years of basketball, a lot of winning, and a bunch of classes with him. I have a lot of stories to tell, and they're all good, but the one that sticks out in my mind and means the most to me is, everybody knows my dad died, in 2010, which was 7 years after I graduated. And, I remember sitting there, lost, and looked up and there he was. He came to the wake, and that was real stressful for me, and it meant a lot to me, and it still does, to know that 4 short years of basketball turned into a respectful relationship. And I appreciate that, Curt. And happy birthday. God bless, and I hope you have many more.
Happy 70th birthday, Coach. Hope I will look as good at 70 as you do. Go Wolfpack.
Hi, I'm Rhoda Smith Diamond. I played basketball for Curt Fletcher in 1976. We won the county championship, went undefeated. Happy birthday, Coach Fletcher, and many, many more.
I'm Okie Smith. I also played for Curt in 1976. Except I played for the boys, not the girls. We were undefeated, county champs. Later on in life, I became a coach myself, and most of what I learned from Coach Fletcher. Happy birthday, Coach.
Happy birthday, Curt. I have so many memories from junior high school. Most of them include a Fletcher boy, Bobby, Jimmy, and especially you, Curt. From hot butter rolls, from school dances. Pretty sure I think you taught me how to slow dance. Basketball championships, Sadie Hawkins Day. Should have chased you. You are so loved by so many people and have impacted so many people's lives. We all love you, especially me. Happy birthday, Mr. Fletcher.
Yeah, I'd like to wish Curt a happy birthday, first and foremost as a man, and thank him for what he has done for my family and me. Yeah, I don't know sometimes I don't know where we would have done if it hadn't been for Curt. And I just want to thank him for that. And then his coaching, what he had to work with. I know it was times as 2001, 2002, he took us to the state tournament, won it in 2001. And won it. We went back in 2011, the year the school closed, with what material he had. Some of them lean years, he's done a good job with what he had. And I want to say some things that he would tell other coaches or tell a referee or tell somebody at the score table or something. He'd always say, hey, we hire the handicap and the referees come out on the floor. And he told one coach one time, he said, if we don't win, he said, I hope you do. But Curt, I hope you have a great day, buddy, and the best year you've ever had. And I appreciate you. Thank you, buddy. God bless you.
Happy 70th birthday, Curt, from Pam and Ivina. If things get better with age, then you are close to perfection. We love you and wish you many more.
Happy 70th birthday, Curt. Just wanted to let you know that how much I appreciated all the years we spent together coaching and just being friends, not only on the court but off the court. The advice that you've given me over the years, I've applied it to this day. And I know that when we coached together that, as much as we wanted to win, we were always wanting our kids to win at life, and we were always teaching them life skills. And that's one of the things that I've remembered over the years to try to incorporate into my coaching. And if it wasn't for you, I would have never gotten the chance to do what I've done in this game. And I just appreciate you so much, and I love you with all my heart. And again, happy 70th birthday. There was one more thing, Coach, I wanted to add is that, 2011 year, was a special time being the last year at Williamson High School, and you know, there was a lot of naysayers out there that said we never were going to get it done. You couldn't win at Williamson. Well, we proved them wrong, and I think if we'd have had one more year, you'd have seen another banner up in the field house saying 2012 state champs.
Happy 70th birthday, Curt. I pray that you have the best day that you've ever had, and may the Lord bless you with many, many more birthdays. God bless you, buddy.
Happy birthday, Curt Fletcher. Here's to 70 more years of health and happiness. We love you, and happy birthday.
To the man I've always looked up to, the man I love very much, the guy that taught me all through about basketball and all through life, to the man I look up to every day, to the man I admire, and the guy that taught me how to wheel and deal. Happy birthday, Dad. Happy Big 7-0. Love you.
I want to wish my sweet daddy a happy 70th birthday. You are the greatest man I've ever known. I wouldn't want to live a day on this earth without you. I love you more than life.
Happy birthday, Papa. I love you to the moon back.